It's a very short minute. Have you tried to take a local flight recently? Joburg to Cape Town could set you back around 6,000 Rand, there or thereabouts. Airlines are being accused of price gouging. Now, of course, follows the collapse of Comair, which accounted for around 40% of the country's domestic seat capacity. But airlines are saying it's simply pricing algorithms that are based on demand. Let's bring in aviation expert Desmond Latham into the conversation. Desmond, morning to you. I take you back more than a month now, where SA Flyer editor Guy Leach, I'm sure you know Guy very well, saying back then at the collapse of Comair, we could see jumps of 300 to 400%. Can we blame just Comair? Morning.
Morning to you. No, I mean, across the world, aviation is experiencing a sharp and a steep increase in ticket prices. Wherever you fly in the world today, prices have risen 50%, 40%, 30%, depending where you are. So it's not just Comair, and it's not just the fuel price. It's demand largely has set this off.
So when we talk about this demand as well, though, when these airlines that are still left behind are being accused of price gouging, is that an unfair or fair statement, Desmond?
You know, it's a bit like surge pricing for Uber and the other operators that give us modern transport. The idea here is that there are people who want to buy tickets in an urgent basis, and the closer it is to the departure date, the pricier that ticket price gets. So if you look at it in that perspective, gouging implies conspiracy, and I don't think you can say that with all fairness. There has been a sharp increase in fuel costs, and that's the biggest cost for airlines. By up to 70% of their operating cost is fuel, and that has gone up, steeply, as we all know. Jet fuel is around $150 a barrel. A barrel is 200 liters, so you can do your maths. And Boeings and Embraers that we use and so on use tons of this stuff every hour. So if you do the maths, you can see that the operating costs have gone up. And also then, of course, the demand curve has just gone into orbit. Everyone wants to fly at the end of COVID. Businesses are back, even with hybrid crossings, as we are doing now. There's still the need to fly now increased, and families want to travel. So all of that has created a perfect storm.
It has, and I'm just taking a look at one of the websites where you can book a ticket, and you're quite right. Obviously, the closer to the time you want to depart, Desmond, the increase goes up. But I'll just give you this as an example. I haven't booked a ticket. I got a price on a ticket from Johannesburg down to Cape Town, leaving tomorrow, coming back on Friday. As well, ordinarily, that would have cost me about 1,500 Rand, give or take, public holidays, etc., etc. Now 5,851. For a family of four, it's 24,000 Rand. There's increases, and then there's just insulting, isn't there?
Yes, and then, of course, we're all adults. So this reminds me of periods in time in aviation where, previously we got so used to the luxury of cheap flying that, being crammed in like sardines and so on, all the jokes. But flying became a necessity, not a luxury, and whereas previously it was seen as really a luxury. So what has happened is that people will plan. People like you and I with multiple children will plan, will plan trips. So I tried to fly to Australia a couple of weeks ago, and the price was 44,000 Rand return direct. So you can see that at this stage, that is a significant increase over the 20-odd thousand that the price was previously. So you will plan, and people will plan. They'll say, okay, let's go to Cape Town. Let's take off. Let's go out of surge time. Let's go take the family down on a long weekend we create ourselves, and we'll book in a month's time, and then you'll go back to the sort of reasonable price scenario. So planning, I think, is really important now if you're going to take flights.
Yeah, on the multiple children side, I'm not sure about you, but I can speak on my behalf. No multiple children on my side, thank heavens. I'd never be able to travel. Not that I'm aware of, anyway. Desmond, let's just quickly talk. Tumza raised a very good point. I want to use the turn of phrase that she used. This is simply supply and demand, isn't it? Let's not forget, yes, they provide a service, but in the end, these are businesses. They're there to make money. So it is supply and demand.
Yes, and also don't forget that these companies are highly aware that there's a limit. So when people get to that limit, they stop buying tickets and then find alternative things to do, like drive a car down to Cape Town, which a lot of people are doing now. So get ready for, by the way, heavy traffic on the roads. People have not spoken about this, but I expect a sharp increase in unfortunately accidents, and also in the number of people traveling on the main highways of South Africa down to the big cities, between the big cities. So that's coming our way, and it's probably happening already. So the next holiday period, I'd be very wary of going down by car myself. But you're right. I mean, it is the demand curve is right off the charts. But at the same time, companies like Airlink and FlySafair are lining up extra planes. I mean, for example, Airlines is going from 57 planes to something like 62 or 63. And I know FlySafi is looking at the same thing. So they do want to get into a situation where they don't damage themselves, their own narrative, as Uber has with its surge pricing, where people know they're very cynical about Uber now between, say, 6 and 8 p.m. in the evening or later on. And there are periods at which you just don't take an Uber because it's too expensive, or you won't get one. You'll sit waiting on the side of the road, staring back and forth. We call it the Uber walk, people walking backwards and forwards, staring at their phone. That kind of thing may happen with flying in the future, where you can see that you have to plan this, you have to look at it, you've got to look at your expenses, and also look at more planes coming online, which is going to happen, and is happening.
Desmond, sorry, not David, Desmond, very quickly, just in your crystal ball of the Latham crystal balls, do you see someone coming in to fix the gap and fill the gap left by Comair, or is it just too big of a gap for any local airline to try and fix, or international?
Latham crystal ball sounds suspicious, but anyway, yes, I think that there is a chance that the price will go down, but only after 2 or 3 quarters from here. I think there'll be moments where you will see the price will drop, and there are other competitors lining up as well. So we'll see that the people who know what they're doing in flying and aviation, which is the companies I mentioned and a couple of others, will deal with this in the short term. They'll get more cabin crew, more labor, which is one of the issues. It's causing cost rises and flight cancellations worldwide, tens of thousands actually by now. So that will start ratcheting up over the next few months. And by 2 quarters from here, say March next year, that kind of period, we'll start seeing some kind of semi-normality.
Oh, we certainly hope so. Desmond, always good to speak to you. Always appreciate your time in speaking to us on eNCA. Desmond Latham, aviation expert as well. You might recognize the voice, of course. There's so many flying shows. You go there and you don't hear Desmond. It seems quite odd not to hear Desmond. So it looks like it might be light at the end of the tunnel, but raising a very good point. With holiday seasons coming up, most people are going to be driving because of the increased airline tickets. We all know what that means on our dangerous roads here in South Africa.